Thank you so much for being here. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Jenna Taylor, and I work with the Florida Trail Association. So I am the regional coordinator for the central and southern sections of the trail, so pretty much everything south of here. And my role is to support the chapters and make sure that the trail gets fully maintained. So I work with 9 of our chapters, including the Central Florida chapter. And I also work really closely with our land managers to make sure the trail stays open and accessible.
And my name is Bill Turman, and I'm one of the volunteers for the Florida Trail Association. Been a member for about 32 years. I'm currently the chapter chair of the Central Florida chapter, which includes Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties. And I'm also on the chairman of the board of directors for the Florida Trail Association as well.
What does the daily work of the Florida Trail Association look like?
Yeah, so we have a really small team, but we do cover the entire state of Florida. So for my role, and there's 2 other regional coordinators, we are really working closely with the local chapters, talking all things maintenance, any issues that are coming up on the trail, and we work with the chapters to resolve them. But we're also doing a lot of promoting of the Florida Trail. So we are not the most popular or well-known resource here in the state, and we work really hard to change that. Most Floridians live within 1 hour of the Florida Trail, and we want to make sure everyone knows about it and gets out and explores it. We also do just a lot of work in the advocacy of conservation in Florida overall, and just kind of protecting public spaces.
I'm a volunteer, so I really don't have a day-to-day defined schedule. However, as being the chapter chair of the Central Florida chapter, there's always issues that I have to interact with the other volunteers in the chapter, as well as our staff people, to plan trail work parties, to the activities, the outdoor thing, the outreach to the public that we do. And also as the chairman of the board of directors of the Florida Trail, that's a statewide thing where I was elected the chairman, and part of that is also interacting with the chapters, but it's also interacting with the U.S. Forestry Service, who, because we are a national scenic trail, and we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the National Scenic Trail, the Florida Trail, that also we have a partner, the U.S. Forestry Service, who is our partner on the National Scenic Trail. And so we interact with we can mention Sean Thomas, who is our administrator from the U.S. Forestry Service. But hike the hill, we do all kinds of things with the Forestry Service, and they have, I guess, overall management control of the National Scenic Trail, the Florida National Scenic Trail, commonly known as the Florida Trail.
And how many people have actually hiked the entire trail?
I actually went back and looked and determined, based on our website, floridatrail.com, it's currently 393 have through-hiked the trail since really 1966, which is when the Florida Trail was created. It's been I guess for the last 40 years, it's been a national scenic trail, but it was created in 66. And 393 I also looked at that, the last couple of years have been the big boom for the hikers. We've at least documented, we've had in the numbers of 40s, 42 last year, 49 the year before, as far as through hikers, which are quite a bit larger than some of the previous years. But so the numbers of people that are committing to go out and hike the 1,100 roughly miles to do either circuit to complete the Florida Trail, the numbers are increasing now, so it's great.
And how long does it take normally for someone, if they want to dedicate their time to finishing the whole trail? Maybe if they're breaking it up into different sections, how long do they, what's their goal?
Yeah, I would say our average through hiker, so someone who's starting in January, going straight through, it's taking them, anywhere between 2.5, 3 months. Some of our fastest known times on the trail are I think the fastest known supported male hiker did it in 22 days, which just blows my mind. We had a woman last year set a new record, I think, at 34 days, which is also just incredible. But I think, these numbers our through hiker numbers are, growing, but I think our average user is a day, someone who's coming out just for a day hike or coming out just for the weekend with their family, or they're doing it, section by section over, could take them a year, it could take them a few years, it could take them many years. But I think that's our biggest usage. And we're seeing, hundreds of thousands of people that are using a section of the trail at some point in the year.
Yeah, I think we have counters out there that have shown that we have close to 500,000 people, I believe, that contact the trail during the year, go out and hike for a couple of hours, for a weekend or whatever. But it's around 500,000, 400,000, 500,000, somewhere in there, that people that go out and use it. And like Jenna said, I mean, majority of the people just go out for a couple of hours along, out here on some beautiful trails we have along the Yukon River or whatever out east of here, or other areas of the state. But for the most part, these are the thoroughbreds, the guys that get out there and do a through hike. Most of the people are going out for the day to take their children out and see nature, which is a big thing.
Yeah, and why do you feel it's important to have these trails and to have people really use them and utilize them?
I mean, personally, I think, I come in here and I have to log in on a computer and everything. I think people are losing the idea of nature and seeing wildlife and seeing the natural areas out there. I think it's very important to health of a person to be able to participate in that. And I think we try to provide that through our outdoor activity training and getting people out there as well. Just to, we build trails, but we also take the public out into those outdoor areas to let them experience the out of doors.
How can the community get involved and support the trails?
Yeah, so as Bill mentioned, we do more than just the maintenance side of things. So the local chapters, and there's a local chapter that is in every county in the state, and they do all kinds of activities, not just limited to hiking, but just getting people outdoors, paddling, urban hikes, all kinds of different activities. And then, of course, my specialty, the maintenance side of things, we host what we call volunteer work parties, and they usually start in October and run through about March. And that's a really cool way to see not only trails in your area and contribute to them, but also travel around the state. Our staff lead those. We provide a campsite, all your meals, tools, equipment, protection that PPE that you need. It's just a really cool way and to kind of bond with the trail community and get to experience Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that you would like to share? How can people learn more?
Yeah, so of course we have a website, floridatrail.org, and that has great section hikes. Where can I go hike in this area just today? And we've got some local kind of grab and go hikes, how to get involved with each of the local chapters. All that's on there. I think the other thing is just that people think a lot that Florida is like, oh, it's flat and it's not that beautiful, but Florida is incredibly beautiful and diverse, and I think the Florida Trail is a really cool way to experience that. You can be in one ecosystem and 5 minutes down the trail you're in a completely different ecosystem, and Florida has weird plants, and you should get out and see them.
We're a state of 23 million people now or something, and growing every day. And if thank goodness that people were here before us that dedicated their time to try to protect a lot of the wildlife and a lot of the natural areas, because with the growth that we're having, if we didn't do that, and Orange County has been great about setting aside areas, Savage Christmas Creek out here and other areas that we've actually put a trail through now. It's amazing if you ask somebody, have you ever heard of the Florida Trail, how many people will say, the what? And join. Please have people join the Florida Trail Association. We have roughly 4,000 members in a state that has 22 million people. So we would love to have many, many more thousands of members supporting the efforts and the cause that we support, kind of thing.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the work that you're doing. It must be a lot of hard work to keep these trails maintained.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here and continuing our conversation on the Florida Trail. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the Florida Trail?
I've been with the Florida Trail for about 6 years now. For the last 2 years, I am the trail coordinator. The trail coordinator is just the person that manages the maintenance of the Florida National Scenic Trail and all our side trails, here through Central Florida.
When was the Florida Trail Association first formed?
There was a fella named Jim Kern, and he hiked the Appalachian Trail and some of the other trails, and he's a Floridian, and he realized that there was not a trail in Florida. Florida, with all our green spaces and everything else, well, how come we don't have a trail? So back in 1968, with a bunch of his friends, they started blazing out or making a trail, and they started in Ocala National Forest there at Clearwater Lake near Paisley. And the first section of the Florida Trail was through Ocala National Forest here.
If someone wanted to prepare to go through the trail with all these different landscapes, how would they be best prepared to do that? I mean, I don't know if you'd wear like hiking boots on the beach.
The advice I always give a through hiker, someone will post on Facebook, what do I have to do to prepare to hike the Florida Trail? Even here locally, through Orange County, we have 42 miles of a linear Florida Trail that runs through East Orange and East Seminole County. So say a hiker wants to come out and hike that 42 miles for a nice weekend backpacking trip. Well, the number one thing is having very comfortable shoes. We have a very sandy soil. What I suggest is, quality, hiking shoes with quality wool socks. The socks it wicks the water away from your feet. It basically prevents you from having blisters. Because that's a lot of the people that have hiked the Florida Trail, they have foot issues. Your feet are going to get damp. They're going to get wet. So having a very comfortable pair of shoes and socks will help out. The other point that we make is, especially if you're hiking in the wintertime, don't underestimate how cold it gets. Usually Florida wintertime we have beautiful weather, but that cold front comes through once a week. The nice part about hiking through Orange Seminole County is you always have cell service. So number one thing is going out and being safe.
And what do you expect to see when you're on these trails? What kind of wildlife, plants, landscapes?
Over in East Orange. We'll talk about that. Tosahatchee, Charles Bronson State Forest is in East Orange. What have I seen out there? I've seen plenty of deer, feral hogs. There's a herd of feral horses out on the savannah near the St. John's. In some of the deeper canals, you might see an alligator. I've seen snakes, but everybody asks me, what about the alligators and snakes? One, you're making too much noise. The alligators and snakes don't want nothing to do with human beings.
So that if you're doing a 3-day, so each day's walk, there's a campground there for that you could book and reserve in advance to stop at?
Yeah, they have these little campgrounds along the way. I mean, there's a picnic table. It's rocked off so that you can put your tent on top of the rocks. So if it rains, the water drains away from you. So they're spaced along the way along the trail, all the way from Tosahatchee into Charles Bronson and into a little bit Econ. So you have it's set up for a 3-day backpacking trip.
Okay. How can the community support if someone wants to volunteer? What are the volunteer opportunities?
There's a bunch of ways to volunteer. We have our trail maintenance. We have a lot of our volunteers come out to do trail maintenance for the Florida Trail. We start our trail maintenance in the fall. So where we post all this information is on Meetup. It's mostly retirees. The issue we have here with the Florida Trail in Central Florida is we do most of our trail maintenance on Wednesdays. The reason why we have to do it on Wednesdays, we have to. This is all public land, and we have to work around the deer hunting season. And most of the deer hunting here in Central, here in Orange and Seminole County, are on weekends. We are committed to 4 Saturdays. There's certain sections of the trail that don't have any hunting, so we reserve them for Saturday, so we can get more younger people to come out and volunteer. But this year, we'll have all this information. I'm going to post it a lot on Meetup. It'll be on our Facebook page.
And how do they find that, the website?
Oh, it's really easy. Florida Trail Association. Like if you're going to look for our meetup site, you get on Meetup and just put in the search, Florida Trail Association, Central Florida.
Okay.
And
Does he have different chapters across the state?
we have 19 chapters across the state. So you'll find the Central Florida chapter. As they say, I think it says Central Florida and Highland chapter. And that way you get on the meetup list, so you get on the notification for any time there's something posted on Meetup for our chapter, you'll get a notification so that you can go look for it.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for all this information. It's really great.
Okay,
And
nice meeting you again.
yeah, nice meeting you too. And I'm looking forward to maybe do a small section to start off with. If you're enjoying this show, please subscribe to our channel and follow our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter accounts.